Hello everybody, this is Dev Prasad CN, studying in second sem MBA of SVCE Bangalore. So let us discuss about sources of working capital today. What do you mean by working capital? Working capital refers to the difference between a company's current assets and current liabilities. What is the main importance of working capital? The potential for day-to-day operations and maintaining the liquidity. Types of working capital: permanent working capital, temporary working capital. Permanent working capital is the minimum amount of resources a business needs to continue operations. Temporary working capital, these are the additional funds required to meet seasonal or fluctuating demands. Sources of working capital: discuss various sources of funding available for working capital, mainly the internal source and external source. Internal source: retained earnings. These are the profits invested into the business instead of distributed to shareholders. Depreciation funds. These are the non cash charges that can be used to finance working capital. External sources. These are bank loans. These are the short term loans from financial institutions. Trade credit. This is the credit extended by suppliers, allowing business to purchase goods and pay later. Short term financing options: commercial paper and lines of credit. Commercial papers are unsecured promissory notes issued by companies to raise short term funds. Lines of credit are pre approved amounts that businesses can borrow as needed. Long term financing options: equity financing, long term debt. Equity financing are the raising capital through the sale of shares. Long term debt are the bonds or loans that provide funds for a longer duration. Other sources: factoring and inventory financing. Factoring are the selling accounts receivable to a third party of immediate cash. Inventory financing is used using inventory as collateral for a loan. Factors influencing working capital needs: business size, nature of the business, and market conditions. Business size refers to larger businesses may need more working capital. Nature of the business refers to seasonal businesses require more working capital during peak seasons. Market conditions are the economic climate that can affect the cash flow. There are the various sources available on working capital implies the need for business to manage working capital effective for sustainability. Working capital is essential for a business to maintain its operations and cover short-term liabilities. Here are some key sources of working capital: retained earnings, trade credit, short-term loans, lines of credit, factoring, inventory financing, equity financing, government grants and subsidies, and crowdfunding. Retained earnings are the profits that are reinvested in the business rather than distributed to the shareholders. Trade credit are the agreements with suppliers to buy now and pay later, allowing the businesses to use goods before making payments. Short term loans. Loans from banks or financial institutions with a repayment period typically undergo 1 year. Lines of credit: pre approved amounts from banks that businesses can draw on as needed, providing flexibility in managing the cash flow. Factoring: selling accounts receivable to a third party at a discount to receive immediate cash. Inventory financing: loans or credit lines secured by inventory, allowing businesses to leverage their stock for working capital. Equity financing: raising capital through the sale of shares in the company, providing cash without the obligation of repayment. Government grants and subsidies: financial aid provided by government bodies that do not require repayment. Crowdfunding: raising small amounts of money from a large number of people, typically via online platforms. Each has its own advantages and disadvantages, and the best choice depends on the specific financial